awesome day starting with our flashcards. I took a few out that I know we know super well so we can really concentrate on the ones we want to keep improving on. So, here we go. Ooh. A. L. U. Ooh. O. E. I. E. V. O. A. A. One more time. You can always feel it in your throat. I. 3 sounds. Y, E, I. One more time. Y, E, I. Awesome job, Super Scholars. Let's start our awesome reading. Hello, Decoding Detectives, and welcome to Reading for this Tuesday. I am super excited you are here, and I hope you are ready to grow your reading brains as we learn a brand new decoding clue today. But of course, first, you know what's up. We have to practice our speed decoding. Just like yesterday, they are multi-syllable words. They have 2 syllables, and we have to practice breaking them up in the correct place so we can blend them together and read. So let's take a look. Where are we going to divide this word into syllables? Between the 2 consonants that are right here. Between the 2 consonants. So, what are the vowels going to say? They're closed in. A and I. So let's read the word in its parts. Rabbit. Let's go. Rabbit. Rabbit. A rabbit. Okay, what about this word? Where are we going to divide it into syllables? I don't see 2 consonants next to each other. So it's after the first vowel. After the first vowel. So if our syllable is in between right here, this U is going to be open and it will say what sound? U. And then the I, it. So let's read the word. U, id. Cupid. Cupid. A cupid. We've seen these around Valentine's Day. They're the little flying babies. Up next, where should we divide this word? After the U, since it's the first vowel. So that means this vowel will be open. What sound do we think it will make? U. Good job. But this is going to say a slightly different sound because remember U is tricky. This will say ooh, ooh. But this I is going to say what sound? I. So let's read the word. Ooh, ip. Put it together. Tulip. Tulip. A pretty flower. And final one, Super Scholars. Where are we going to divide this word? Right after the first vowel. And guess what? I on its own And this means this eye will be open. So what sound is it going to make? I, its name. And this E will be closed in, so the sound is eh, eh. Can you read the word? Item. Item and item. Awesome job breaking those words into syllable and using that decoding strategy. So let's look at our Tuesday learning target. It says, I can decode verbs with the ending ed using my knowledge of past tense verbs. So today we're revisiting one of the suffixes that we learned about yesterday, and that is ed. Remember, a suffix is what is attached at the end of a word and changes the meaning. In this case, we are looking at verbs. Ed is a suffix that's added on to the end of a verb to change its meaning. And when we add ed, we are changing the meaning of a verb to mean the past tense, to say that the action already took place, it's in the past. So that is what happens when we add an ed to a verb. We are saying that this action already took place. For example, when we go from watch to watched, these actions are happening at completely different times just because we added the suffix ed. I watch TV when I'm bored. It's the base verb, and we're saying that the act of watching the TV happens again and again. I watched TV yesterday is saying that this action already took place. It was in the past, which was yesterday. So today we are going to practice how to read verbs with the suffix ed, because ed is really tricky. It has 3 different sounds. This little tiny suffix at the end of a verb has 3 different sounds. And it's tricky because there's not the simplest way to really learn or have a clue of when ed is going to say which sound. So that's why it's really, really important that we practice reading a lot of verbs with the suffix ed so we can really learn when it's going to say which sound. But what are those 3 sounds? Let's see. So first up, ed can say ed, just like we would think by looking at the letters. Ed. Can you repeat after me? Ed. Ed. That's one sound the suffix ed can make. Like in this word, we have our base verb, lift, and when we add ed at the end to make it a past tense verb, it becomes lifted. Lifted. I lifted a box. The ed in this situation says ed. For example, I lifted myself into the truck. So in this case, ed is saying ed as a suffix. But the second sound ed makes is t, t, the same as a t sound. Can you all say this with me? T, t. So ed can make ed and t. Like in the word, we have our base verb, jump, and when we add ed to make it past tense, it becomes jumped. Jumped. I jumped rope during recess. So another sound for ed is t. So far we have ed and t. What's the last sound ed is going to make? Let's take a look. It's d, d. The same sound as a d. D, d. Can you all make this sound? D, d. ed says d in verbs like this. We have our base word yell, yell, and with our suffix ed, this becomes yelled, yelled. The ED is only making the d sound. For example, I yelled at my mom across the park. So ED is really tricky because there's 3 whole different sounds, and there's not a totally simple way for us to tell which verb says which sound. So there is 2 strategies we can use to correctly decode a word. First up, you can try all 3 sounds out. You can go through ed, t, and d when reading a verb and figure out which one you recognize and which one sounds correct. For example, if I came to this word in a text I was reading and I saw, oh, there is an ed at the end of this verb, that means this verb is in the past tense and ed has 3 different sounds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try out ed, t, d, and figure out which one sounds correct. So let's see. Yelled, yelled. No, that sounds weird. Okay, next one. Yelt, yelt. I yelt? No, I don't think so. Yelled, yelled. I yelled. I recognize that word, so I know ed says d, and this word is yelled. So that's one strategy we can use to find the correct sound for ed. We can try out all 3. Another strategy we can use is take a look at the base word, the base verb, and use our knowledge of past tense verbs to help us figure it out. So for example, if I came to this word in a text and I didn't know how to read it, but I recognized that there's a verb with an ed suffix. That's going to clue me in that this verb is in the past tense. And I know how to say past tense verbs. We speak them all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look. Okay, without the ed, what's my base verb? It's bang, bang. What is the verb bang in the past tense? Let me think. Banged, banged. Ooh, and I'm going to listen. What sound is ed making? Banged, banged. It's the D sound, the D sound. So I know in this instance, ed says d, and I can read this word as banged because I use my knowledge of the past tense verbs in English by identifying our base verb. So that's the second strategy you can use. We can find the base verb and change it to the past tense. That way, as you say the past tense verb, you're listening for what sound ed is making. And then you can know what is the correct sound as you read. So this is the strategy we are going to practice right now with our Super Kids workbook. But before we get our Super Kids workbook out, it's time to take a quick brain break. So stand up, up, up out of your seat, push in that chair, and I have a this or that question for you. So my question is, would you rather shovel snow for 1 hour, or would you rather rake leaves for 1 hour? You gotta pick one. Would you rather shovel snow? If so, you're gonna act like a snake. And this is for 1 hour. Or would you rather rake leaves? If so, you're gonna act like a bird. You have a choice. I would rather rake leaves because they're a lot lighter than snow. So I'm gonna act like a bird for 5 seconds. Are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is it. We got our little wiggles out. So come on, sit right back down as you get out your Super Kids workbook. We are working on page 39, Super Scholars. Page 39. Got a paragraph and there's lines on the top or on the bottom. Page 39. find page 39, and I would love for you to have a highlighter and a pencil out so we can really mark and identify those ED verbs. Okay, Super Scholars, with this paragraph, we are going to go on a decoding detective hunt for the suffix ed. And what we're going to do is we're going to use our strategy of knowing the base word and saying the verb in the past tense and listening whether that ed ending makes the ed sound, the t sound, or the d sound. So we're going to be putting these verbs into categories based off of what sound the suffix ed makes. So we're going to really use our listening skills to help us grow our reading brains. So, first up, what I want us to do is look at this very first sentence that extends all the way across the paragraph. You don't need to be reading every word. I want you to look at that first sentence and see if you can identify there's 3 verbs with the suffix ed. When you see a verb with an ed ending, I want you to circle the suffix. Just want you to circle ed. So, okay, let's look. All we're going to do is circle ed. Ooh, I found it. Okay. We're looking for that suffix. Da-da-da. Aha! Okay, I found 3 ed suffixes. So, let's look at this first word up here. Can you underline the base word? I want you to underline the base verb. That's the verb without ed. So, Super Scholars, can you decode this word? You can because there's a vowel team. What is this base verb? Dream. Dream. To dream at night. So let's think. What is the past tense of the verb dream? So you did it yesterday. I dreamed. I dreamed last night. Okay, listen really, really closely when you say that. Dreamed. Dreamed. What sound is ed making? Listen. Dreamed. What sound is it making? D. D. It's making the D sound. So I want everyone, we're going to write the word dreamed under the D category. Here we go. In your super awesome handwriting. Dreamed. Good job. Okay, let's look at our next word. Can you underline the base verb? Can you underline the base verb? Okay, what is the base verb here? We can all decode this. Let's see. Rust. Rust. Rust is when metal gets all orange and rough. That's rust that gets on metal objects. So if you want to say the verb rust, but in the past tense, this pipe got past tense. Rusted. Rusted. So listen, what sound is this ed making? Rusted. Rusted. What sound is it making? Rusted. It's making the ed sound. So let's all write the word rusted under the ed category. Here we go. Okay. Let's look at another one. Okay. Can you underline the base verb? Can you underline the base verb? Okay, what is this base verb? Look, we've got a digraph. Crash. Crash. Good job. And think of ending. What sound is the suffix making? Crashed. Crashed. What sound is that? It's the T sound. Crashed. So let's go ahead and write our next word under the T category. Here we go. Crashed. Awesome, Super Scholar. So what you are going to do is you're going to finish being a decoding detective and looking for all the verbs with ED. Once you found a word with ED, you're going to use our strategy by identifying the base verb, saying it in the past tense, and really listening if the suffix at the end is saying ed, d, or t. And then you'll put it in the correct category depending on the suffix sound. Once this page is done, you're going to have 3 options of what you're going to take on a video. Okay, Super Scholars, once you have completed your detective quest on page 39 for ED words, you have 3 options of what you are going to show in the video that I see on Dojo. So for 1 star, I want the wolves to start here. The wolves, I want you to start here. You're going to decode the 3 top words. I want you to focus on 3 words and really practice that they're accurate and you can read them over and over again completely on your own. So the wolves, I want you to go for 1 star and decode 3 words just on your own until they're nice and smooth. And then 2 stars, you are going to read all the words on page 39. Just our ED words down here. And you know what sound the ED makes based on what category you wrote them in. So 2 stars, you're going to read the words on page 39. Just the words we found. And then 3 stars, the top level, you're going to read the whole paragraph on page 39. You're going to read all the paragraph with the ED words and other ones, of course, as well. So 3 stars is the entire paragraph. So Super Scholars, finish page 39 and then choose what level you're going to work at. Remember, this isn't supposed to be easy on your first try. I want you to pick a level where you're going to challenge yourself and really learn how to read those ED words. So let's go use our awesome detective skills, and I can't wait to see what you got.